Do you have a baby that is about to start solid foods, or maybe they're in their first year of life? This video is still applicable even if you have a toddler who's 2. I'm going to share something today that is something that most parents overlook when they start solids or they have a baby who's under 2. And that is the importance of iron and high iron foods for babies. A lot of parents are so focused on calcium or another nutrient like protein or fats that this mineral is so often overlooked, and I don't believe that it's something that most doctors tell you or pediatricians tell you about when you're there for your 6-month appointment. And today I want to share with you some high iron foods, because one of the questions that I get commonly is, what should baby's first food be? What should I feed my baby for their first meal? And that's a very open-ended question. So I wanted to give you an actionable item that you can take away today. And that is, every time you build a plate for your baby or your child under 2, whether it's a meal or a snack, think about what high iron food you're putting on the plate for them. Babies have a high requirement for iron. If I can just get into the science for a second, they lay down their iron stores when they're still inside their mother. When the baby is born, breast milk has a small amount of iron in it that is very easily absorbed from the milk into the baby's body. But their iron stores run low during the first 6 months of life. And after that, that's one of the reasons that introducing solid foods is important, not only because they need to start getting nutrients from food, but one of the major nutrients that can be lacking if baby continues to drink a lot of milk is iron. So what you can do is offer them a high iron food at every meal. Here are some examples of high iron foods. Dark meat, poultry, like the leg or the thigh. Red meat, like lamb or beef. If you're doing purees, I have heard of people pureeing them. If you're doing baby-led weaning, like finger foods, cut it up into the size of the length of a finger and about the width of 2 fingers. And that way baby with a palmar grasp can pick it up like this and still get it into their mouth. Whereas if you give them a tiny little piece, they don't have this pincer grip yet until they're about 9 months old. So avoid that, because that will make them really frustrated. And even if they're not actually eating the beef, which they won't be, they'll be sucking the juices out, and that is still a good source of iron from the juice. Other examples include eggs, a whole egg that includes the yolk, of course. Chia seeds or hemp seeds, you can sprinkle them on. So if you give them, for example, a slice of avocado, one of the ways that it makes it a little bit more grippy for them is to roll it in a little bit of chia seed or hemp seeds to help them pick it up. And then as they're eating it or putting it in their mouth, they're going to suck off some of the seeds. Yes, even if they are not able to chew it, they're able to get some of the nutrition out of it. Another really excellent, easy food is tofu. You can cut that up into strips. You've got to press it first and then serve it in the same sort of a strip like this, or once your baby has their pincer grasp, you can give it to them in little blocks. And you can give it to them just simply pressed. It doesn't have to be cooked. It's not raw in the sense like chicken is raw. It's fine for them to eat it simply if it's been pressed. Another really great example here is actually cocoa powder. If you have some in your pantry, go and have a look at it. It has a surprisingly high amount of iron in it, and also fiber. You can mix this into yogurt and help boost the nutrition in the yogurt as well, and also provide a different flavor and look of yogurt so that baby doesn't get used to it just being one color, one uniform texture. The flavor is different as well. I really hope that you can take that action item and start applying it to your baby's next meal, or if you're about to start solids, ensure that every meal that you give your baby, every eating opportunity has a high iron food source. It's okay if they choose not to eat it or they only play with it and don't swallow it. That's okay. You're providing it for them to interact with, and they will eventually start eating it. One note on chia seeds. I posted about this recently and it got a lot of questions about chia seeds being a choking hazard. They are not a choking hazard. You do not have to pre-grind them or soak them. You definitely can if you want to, but it's not a necessity. Unless your child is eating them by the spoonful, they are not going to choke on them, I promise. And I don't recommend you give them on the spoon for that reason. One of the things you can do is sprinkle them into yogurt and mix it up. Put them in their oats, mix it up. If you give them some sort of a cereal, put it in and mix it up. And you can, if it makes you feel better, you can give them some milk or a little bit of water to drink down at the end. But unless you're giving them literally by a spoonful, they're not a choking hazard. And there are benefits to pre-grinding or soaking, but you don't have to do it. In fact, it's probably great to mix it up a little bit. Sometimes you put them in at the very end so they're not soaked or ground. And then other times, let's say you have overnight oats in the fridge overnight, put the chia seeds in there and let them expand overnight, and that's a different texture for the baby, and it can help with getting the nutrients out of it. But again, it's not a necessity. I hope that clears up the issue of choking hazards with chia seeds. If you found this helpful and you have a mum or dad friend who would also find it helpful, please share it with them. I am Talia, the dietitian. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed that video, here are a couple more, and don't forget to subscribe so you never miss new ones.